Okay, so I'm going to close him in here by himself for a second, and I'm going to go get his new friend and see if that'll work out. So I'm actually going to pause this because I have to close this window so he doesn't mess with this. So I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to come back with another horse. Okay, so Bentley's over here now. And trying to figure out how to film this camera. It's a very high adrenaline thing for me. I get very nervous for this kind of stuff, so I'm shaking. I have to remind Bentley he's just a baby. So Bentley's a little visually impaired. He's got cataracts and he will eventually go blind. But you're about to see them come into the screen. I don't want to move this around a lot, but so I'm going to get... Hi, Bentley. You're okay. That's a puddle. Yeah, that's a puddle. Sorry. I want to get that ball out of the way, so it's a trip hazard. They have a jolly ball in here, but I don't want to get myself kicked just for that reason. Can I grab this without taking a shot to the head? I don't need to get... Oh, yeah. I just worry about it not going well, I always worry about them not getting along, and Bentley's the most incredible babysitter. He's really good with babies, so that's why I usually choose him to introduce babies to. I did leave his halter on in case I have to quickly retrieve him out of here, but it would be more because the baby's attacking him, I think, than worrying about Bentley hurting the baby. So the goal is tomorrow, I'm going to move the mare and the filly that are usually with Bentley up into a different space so that Bentley can spend a week bonding with this little guy. And to be honest with you, it might be a little bit longer than that. It might be until he's gelded, because he's a stud colt. So it might be till he's gelded, because the nicest way to put Daisy is she's very agreeable at the idea that she might get bred. So on the off chance that he could even figure it out at his age, we don't want to take that chance. So Bentley used to be with that group that they're looking at, which, like I said, I don't want to keep turning this. I don't know that I can anyway. It's actually up on something. So Bentley is probably 16 hands. So that's give you an idea how big this little guy is. I mean, he's 8 months old, 9 months old. I know he'd prefer to not have his blanket on, but it's so windy is why they kept their blankets on today. Bentley's like, what are you doing, kid? I love Bentley. He's funny. He's a little celebrator. He half the time he doesn't know what everybody is being silly about, and he'll just bounce up and down just because. So obviously the other option is to leave them in here, but that doesn't give them a lot of running around space. So tomorrow, I might start these two in here at the hour that I usually start my day. This way the baby is familiar with the perimeters. And then when the sun comes up, because I do everything in very, very early hours of the morning, so the sun's not up yet. But when the sun comes up, then I would move them over to another paddock where the baby can learn the perimeters of that paddock. Fancy little trot. What do you think, Bentley? He's such a handsome boy himself. What do you think, Bentley? You gonna babysit someone else for me? He's definitely the most incredible babysitter. He's very gentle and very he has very subtle cues, because I think he's a little, I always say horses could be autistic. He would be an autistic horse. He doesn't really understand social cues. When another horse gives him faces, he doesn't really understand, and his reaction time is very, very delayed. So, he's a good teacher. He knows how to make the faces. He just doesn't know how to really back them up. So like he might go over there and make a face at him, but doesn't really know what else to do, which the baby did actually properly respond to what he just said. When the baby, I don't know if you saw, the baby kind of tipped his head like to say, I'm sorry, I looked at you, kind of thing. So his cues are subtle, but without a lot of repercussion. Let's see a fence rail out at the top. Can you be friends with another baby? He hates his halter on. It makes his nose itch, but. So the baby's doing like a chatter thing with his mouth. He doesn't do it very extremely, but see how he's looks like he's chewing on gum? That's his way of telling Bentley, I'm just a baby, don't hurt me. And all babies do that. Now Bentley, to give you see that right there, that's what that is. Bentley, for example, the reason I say, he's a little, I always say he's just a little special. He did that till he was 3 years old. And if you hear him, which they don't do it that long normally, but if you hear him neigh, he actually still sounds like he's a weanling. He still has a very, very high-pitched little boy voice. But see that chatter thing that he's doing? Looks like he's chewing gum. That's just his way of telling Bentley that he's just a baby. He's not attempting to bite Bentley. I'd like to get Bentley's halter off because he doesn't like halters on. They make his face itch, and he gets kind of obsessed. Like he gets very, it becomes like a must. I gotta scratch my face, so I didn't take it off just in case I had to emergency remove them from each other. Hey, go ahead and rip that blanket more. This horse, they actually said it's from Dover, this blanket, and we've gotten, the ones that have the guarantees. They've actually said that he is from a case-by-case basis, and he no longer applies. He no longer qualifies for that 2-year warranty or whatever it is, because he rips his own blankets. He'll bend down and grab his blanket and rip his own blanket. But I refuse to put another new one on him and have that risk when we probably only have a couple more weeks of blanket season. But if this little guy rips it up more, so it might be in my best interest to go ahead and is that better? Huh? So it's so windy, and he's been covered all day that I hate to pull that blanket off of him. And if the baby keeps trying to chew on it, I'll pull it. But what do you think, Bentley? Huh? You make new friend? He's actually a pest, and then he says, I'm just a baby, don't hurt me, just a baby. I think Bentley would like to roll because he does like the sand, which I don't think he's going to have that opportunity. If he can chew on his blanket, I'm going to pull his blanket off. Yeah, he's a tall little thing. He's a tall little thing. That's an oxymoron. He's a tall youngster. You're a tall youngster. Yes, you are. Because Bentley's at least 15'3", 16 hands. He might even be bigger than that. Wait, does he smell funny? You can't see them. He was flipping his lip up. And they do that when they smell something funny. I can bring some hay out here, but I think it's going to fly away, guys. You're just going to eat that anyway. It's full of shavings, bud. Is he eating your hay? He's eating the hay that you dragged out here? Oh, he doesn't want you to mess with him when he's eating your hay. Can you make friends? You guys making friends? Piece of fiberglass. Not sure where that came from. Piece of bungee cord. So I wish it wasn't so windy. I'd bring a couple flakes of hay out here, but it's just going to make a really big mess. He's over there. Bentley's like nibbling on the only piece of grass on the edges here, and he's over there going, I'm just a baby, I'm just a baby. What do you think, little guy? Huh? That horsey gonna be your friend? I suppose. I don't know how much you want to watch them be very uneventful, which is what you want. Trust me. I want the uneventful behavior, but it can be boring after a while to just watch it. I guess I could go get a muck bucket and clean this while they're getting to know each other. Maybe I'll even bring them a load of a couple flakes of hay just to be friends. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's see what we got. There's 2 flakes of hay. Where's my muck bucket? I know you can hear me. I'm talking to myself. Dump this first. So I'm going to bring 2 flakes of hay out there. I'm willing to waste 2 flakes of hay if it just blows away. Bring my bucket out there so I can clean up from the baby all day. Grab some gloves so my hands are nice and warm. Okay. Here. Here, Bentley. Here, Bentley. Here. Here, Bentley. Bentley. Right here, too. Okay, good boy. So he saw where I put that. That's good. I don't know how well he can see. you know, it could just be as bad as it's going to be, or it could just keep getting dramatically worse as far as his cataracts. He is on like a homeopathic remedy to help it at least stop progressing. I don't know if it can reverse anything, but it can hopefully help stop progressing. So his poop is finally normal. That makes me happy. I was a little worried about how orange and cow pie like his poop was. I don't need to animal. You know, he traveled from his homebred farm to a layover farm where I'm not sure if he ate the same thing he was used to there, and then he came here, and so his food could have dramatically changed a couple times in a very short period of time. So he's eating his own manure right here. What are you doing that for? Huh? How about you don't do that? That's gross. That's gross. Don't do that. So a couple hours together goes well. Then tomorrow, like I said, they'll probably start their day in here together. And then mom and baby will go where they normally go. And then I'll move them when the sun comes up. Or I can go put them up there right now, and then that way in the morning I just put them up there. But they're also moving to a new paddock. Not one that they're unfamiliar with. They've both been in there at one point in their lives, so it's not an unfamiliar paddock, but it's not one they've been staying in. So the chances of them going up there in the dark and being okay is not as good as if I let them see it, which I could go do that right now, I suppose. Let me get this clean. I don't know how much of watching them you want to do. Yeah, you tell him. You say, leave me alone, kid. I'm eating some hay. Leave me alone, kid. Right? What do you think, Bentley? Does it mean that I always make you take care of the babies, or is it a good thing because it's something different in your life? I don't know how they perceive that. Like, do you want to meet the new horses, or do you want to just have a normal, steady routine? So it looks like he's got a cut over his eye. He came with that and a mark here. That's how he arrived. So it's superficial, nothing to be worried about. So it's just the skin is scabbing over now and peeling. So if that's what you see, it's not an actual cut right now. There's more like where they skin themselves and take the fur off, but it wasn't anything that looked like it ever bled. It just looked like a skinning. Okay. So the only thing that I would not do tomorrow morning is I would not give them access back into the barn, because I wouldn't want him or Bentley to get cornered, and having any moment of defensive occur where they can't get away from each other, or like in Bentley's case, the stall would be darker than the outside potentially, and that might be harder for his vision. And I wouldn't want to see him not recognize that he's about to take a shot or something, getting kicked or struck or something, or even bit. So I won't. I'll put him out here without access to the inside. Or do exactly this tomorrow, like put them out tomorrow, and then when the sun comes up, make my shift then. So I'm thinking I'll probably actually do that, but I don't know. He may decide he's got a new best friend even in this little bit of visit time now, He might miss his friend. dramatically miss a friend. Huh. So I try not to be the farm that just throws them together and hopes for the best. And I know a lot of farms that do that, especially, some boarding barns or sale barns where they just, throw horses together and let them work it out. And I put a lot more thought into it, making sure that I match them up right and try not to put horses together where I know one or the other is not a good match. Like, I'd love to put Dewey and Tucker with Katie and Tyson and Ritz over here behind us. And the only reason that I don't is because Tyson's the one that will be the jerk. And I wouldn't want to see Tyson just get a bug up his butt and decide to chase them relentlessly, because when Bentley was with them, that's what happened. Since Bentley's vision was compromised, I had to separate them. So it just wasn't fair. Tyson would just, from across the field, decide Bentley shouldn't be standing where he is, and he'd go run him. And he would do just that, just run him. No, not attack him or anything like that, just run him. And it wasn't a fair thing to do. Tyson's not what I would call a good babysitter. But ideally, I'd love for Tyson and Bentley to be buddies, because they're not. Because Tyson's, he's going to be 21 this year, and he's been a retired horse since the day I got him, because he has a kind of there was an undiagnosed broken back as a baby, and then I promised him no one would ever hurt him again, so he's always been retired. And like I said, he's going blind and has pretty severe arthritis in the two hind fetlocks. Well, it's just one, and now it's both. So I'd love for them to actually be buddies, so that way, I never have to. I would use Katie and Ritz, but I would never use Tyson as a horse that I would take out to go for a ride. So Tyson, if he could just stay with somebody and never see one of his pasture mates taken away, that's ideal. But he's been with Katie since she was 6 months old. So, 17 and a half years? So, split them up now. Alright. I don't know. I mean, it seems pretty uneventful. I don't know how much of this you actually want to watch. Inside, so maybe I'll go do that and leave them to spread hay all over my brown pen. Okay. So I'm going to do a quick live on Facebook, so you're going to hear me kind of repeating myself. Okay, so they've been together about 15 minutes or so now. That's Bentley, my greatest babysitter in the world, and Oopie. They're getting to know each other. There hasn't really been anything but a couple and not even full-on squeals that usually come with a strike. Nothing like that at all. No real running. Oopie thought maybe he could bite Bentley's mane, and Bentley kind of pushed him. And that was like the extent of his how can I push you around exploration. So I brought some hay out, which I'm going to regret because it's so windy, and it's just going to decorate my round pen here. But it's worth it just to keep them busy, because I had to, there's a door that's normally open over there for Oopie to go in and out, and for wanting to make sure that I reduce the risk of anybody getting cornered. I just want to see how that unfolds. So Bentley's very politely saying, "Get out of my tail." Let's see if Oopie understands the body language. Bentley's not mean at all. Good. He's like, "Fine, I'll eat my own hay." So Bentley is easily, this was the job he was meant to have in his life, was to be a good babysitter. He's babysat every baby that's ever come here. And he's a superb babysitter. So the goal is tomorrow is to put these two out in Bentley's normal pasture. The two horses that are usually with Bentley are going to get moved someplace else because they're both female. And this is a little stud colt. Not that I think he's thinking about breeding a mare or anything right now, but just on the off chance he figures anything out. I do have one mare who is, let's just say she's agreeable to the advances of a boy. So we don't want to find out the hard way that we shouldn't have put them together. That's my phone saying no battery, so bye. Okay. Well, that was the first time I've seen any, disciplinary behavior from Bentley. So my phone died, which is unfortunately the story of my life. So I can watch them from in here. But I'll probably end up deciding to listen to my book, then talk to you guys for all of that. Hopefully when my phone recharges, it lets me post that live. Otherwise, hopefully you saw it if you... Okay, so I'm going to take my audio off here. Okay. I don't know how much of that you really want to watch, but I think they're okay. I don't think you know what? I don't think you guys. Oh, look, I'm talking to him. Good. So that was nice. He did offer to show his tail a little bit. Like, I I think I know what to do with my tail if you were to chase me, but it's nice that Bentley, told him, hey, this is my hay, get away from my hay, and he said, fine, I'll go eat this hay instead. So, not unhappy with how that looks. I think I'm going to turn this off. I don't think you guys care about watching this for any real length of time. Okay. Bye, Oopie Oopie. Alright. Let's see.